Karate Kid Legends is the latest installment from the Karate Kid franchise, and as someone who's kind of baffled that this franchise is still going, I actually did quite enjoy this movie, even though there's a lot of problems. Now, from the trailers, I was worried that this was going to be like Karate Kid's same story, beat for beat, and there are the classic shenanigans, like there's a girlfriend, and a bully who gets into fights with him regularly, and a tournament at the end that settles everyone's differences. But what this movie did do well is that in its first half, it goes in a different direction that I quite enjoy. It's actually the student who trains his new girlfriend's dad to get back into fighting so he can pay off debts to load sharks. On paper, that sounds like the absolute worst premise imaginable, and even worse so because the dad is a former boxer, so I don't know how kung fu comes into the bargain. But it actually works out very well. I enjoyed the dynamic between these two characters, and I was a bit worried about Lee Fong as a character because from the trailers you just assume he's going to be a complete Gary Stew because he already knows the moves, so he's not going to have the journey that Daniel LaRusso had. But the fact that he's the trainer, at least for the first half of this movie, does set him on a different path compared to Daniel LaRusso. I also think this might be my favourite romance in the Karate Kid movies and seasons of Cobra Kai because these two characters and actors just seem to click and they speak like real teenagers would. So I'll give the Karate Kid Legends this. For its first half, I was really digging it, and it was something new and exciting, and then it reminded itself that it has Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio in this movie. And that's kind of where the movie loses me. It does away with everything that it's set up in the first half so that it can do Karate Kid beat for beat, like I said earlier. And I just wasn't interested in this dynamic at all. I mean, Ralph Macchio takes so long to get on screen anyway, so they clearly got him in between takes of filming the last season of Cobra Kai. It also doesn't help that the villains of this movie are the worst of the Karate Kid franchise. I mean, I barely remember what Connor did. He's just another typical bully. There's also his teacher, who is the typical evil sensei, yet another Terry Silver, John Kreese knockoff. I can barely find an image on the internet to match that guy. On a positive note, Mr. Han is still a great character. He was the best part of the 2010 remake, and that's because Jackie Chan never lets up. I think Ben Wong did a pretty good job, although his character does ultimately become the Gary Stew I thought he would. It's just the character was given 1 week to master both karate and kung fu, and lo and behold, he does do it. Even the fight sequences are a bit mixed. They do that Kingsman thing where the camera's following guys around when they get flipped over, and there's way too many edits. For a martial arts movie that has Jackie Chan in it, editor, do better. Overall, Karate Kid Legends was honestly better than it had any right